Hey everybody, Jem Schofield here with the C47 and another episode of Gearbox. So this is really, I think, the first time I've ever done this. I probably have never shot more than 2, maybe 3 episodes, sort of back to back to back. And this time I'm doing 4. And the reason I'm doing it now, because I needed to do at least 2 because of the amount of stuff I have coming up this week. But I'm going to do 4 because I just have a lot of stuff going on in here that I want to talk about, and I might as well talk about it while I'm thinking about it. So this episode, I'm going to talk a little bit about the newer crop of large sensor cameras. Of course, I'm very interested in and should be getting a lot more time with the C300 soon. But I've also spent some time with the FS100, a little bit of time with the F3, and I'm going to send you to a link that is on Philip Bloom's website where he did a 2-part Christmas shootout. I'm mainly going to push you guys to watch, if you haven't already, part 2, because there's some low light tests there which I think are fascinating. If you double that with watching Rodney Charter's late night or early morning interview with the Bowie brothers on January 1st, where he's talking about, sort of the change that's happening with these camera systems. In that one specifically, the C300, it sort of gets this conversation going about lighting. And I know a lot of us talk about that all of the time, but what's really fascinating right now is that we are getting to the point where very many, that doesn't really make sense, a lot of these camera systems can see more than we can actually see, which is amazing. And they're starting to produce cameras that have more organic noise patterns so that we can use that footage. And we still need to light, we still need to motivate light, and we need to place light where it needs to be, but we need a lot less of it in order to light a scene. So that sort of got me thinking about different fixtures and what I'm going to be interested in using going forward. And I'm excited because when you start to take a look at the new LED Fresnel lights from ARRI, those 1K lights that can be dialed down and you have complete control over them as far as color temperature if you get the right model, those lights, okay, they're about $2,700, which to some people is just a ridiculous amount of money, but those lights are going to be amazing lights to use with these camera systems. They're not heavy, but they give you the traditional control you would get out of a lensed light. And I'm really, really excited about those as what we would now probably consider our large fixtures, where we're not having to go to a 5 or a 10K light to light something because of the sensitivity of the cameras. I'm really, really impressed with the FS100 as a $5,000 camera, and the fact that you can kit it out at about 10 grand and do some pretty amazing things. The codec is nowhere near as robust as a camera like the C300, or if you're coming out of the ports on the F3, but for the money, as long as you're putting on an external monitor or electronic viewfinder, it's definitely something to consider. Now, what else would we use as far as lights? Well, the beauty of true tungsten bulbs, and I'm not talking about an LED light that has tungsten color temperature, because if you color meter that, you'll find that it's generally not spot on, is that tungsten lights are tungsten lights. And if you meter the color temperature of a true bulb inside of here, it's going to read pretty much spot on at about 3200 Kelvin. So you have predictability there. And as you learn your camera system and as you sort of set things up, it's very, very easy to light with these. Now, what I love about these dado lights, what I don't love is the fact that they're kind of expensive. But the investment, and these are the DLH M4-300s, is these actually draw 150 watts. They do get hot, but they are incredibly focusable, so you can go from a flood to a spot. You can put barn doors on them, you can put snoots on them, you can put a projector on them, so you can put gobos. They're very, very controllable, and they're very, very lightweight. This is the model that comes with the built-in dimmer. It has, everything built into the model itself. So you've got the whole thing right here with one light, and it's giving you the equivalent of 300 watts of output. And with these new camera systems, that's actually really something that you can use. Other stuff that we can use. Little LED lights. The CL256 puts out a lot of light. It's a spotlight. It's dimmable, controllable, and this is daylight balanced, but we can gel it up. And again, a light that produces a lot of output with these small sensor cameras. What else we got? Hold on, coming back in a second, guys. 1x1 fixtures. You know, you're getting the equivalent of over 500 watts of light output, and you're drawing about 50 watts on this. I mean, that's nothing. So, you know, you take this light right here, and they make them in flood and spot versions. This one happens to be from Cool Lights, but there are other ones from other manufacturers. This light here, this can be used on a lot of stuff. What I love about the CL256 is that's battery powered and runs for a long time on those cheap Sony batteries. And while they are hot lights, they're relatively inexpensive. And if you're using things like those dados or you're using low lights and things like that, you know, these tungsten fixtures are very, very controllable. They, you know, have really beautiful light output, and they're a harder light source, so you can do a lot with them. You can diffuse them, you can create shafts of light, you can put a cookie in front of them. I think that, you know, we're not going to see a lot of light fixtures with these camera systems being used that are over 1K for a lot of work. And of course, there's available light, but that's what's really exciting to me. And it's going to make my job a lot easier as an educator, because as I am and the people I bring into the mix are teaching the craft, we don't have to bring in these huge light sources in order to show people how to light things. They can always think with, if they had a smaller chip camera or less sensitive camera, that they would have to have a, you know, larger output coming from the light. But we're going to be able to do a lot of stuff like that. And of course, the Kino flows, and I think those are going to play into this in a big way also. Low power consumption, really beautiful light, and they're coming out with more and more lights as things go on. We've got the Diva light, which is, you know, a 2-foot fixture with 4 lamps, and then there's of course now the Tegra, which is a 4-foot long, great built-in ballast version. It's sort of the Diva of the 4-foot light from Kino. That's great for lighting green screens and things like that. So a lot of exciting stuff going on right now in lighting, and the fact that we can start to reduce how much output we need from our lights. Maybe not the number of light sources, but they can be smaller fixtures with less output, and these cameras are going to allow us to do that. So there's a lot more of that coming up in the future on the C47, and I'll see you guys next time on Gearbox.